Welcome back, everyone. That's right. I am your host, Coin Icarus. It is the Pleb Underground, and we're going to dive into a couple of stories today. Some stuff that I was looking at. First off, we're going to start off with the proof of reserves stuff, right? So for the people who don't know, I follow Sani XP. It's an account on Twitter. I mean, I follow multiple Chainalysis companies and individuals who essentially dig through the Bitcoin blockchain to see who owns what and what's moving where. But I find that Sani's work is probably some of the best work out there. So I obviously implore everyone to check it out. Sani does not sponsor the show or anything. I just love his work and I want to give him some give him some attention. But yes, all right. Before we dive into the proof of reserves, because that's right, he is making a new addition to his website, and part of that new addition is going to be the proof of reserves. We're also going to take a look at this TFTC clip about BitBonds. Yeah, you can already tell by my tone I don't really care about BitBonds, but I do think it's important that we take a look at it because it is going to be a source for a lot of hopium and a lot of the I guess you'd say undercurrents that are going to kind of help push the narrative further into the mainstream. So I just want to take a look at it. But guys, before we take a look at it, of course, very quickly, going to give some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor, and we will be right back. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. They make absolutely beautiful Bitcoin branded products. They just dropped their first one. It is the solid aluminum Bitcoin clock. I had to get my hands on it so that I could show it to you guys. Take a look. Really, really nice piece. Beautiful craftsmanship. Head on over to archamp.co. The link is going to be in the show notes. That is Archimedes Emporium. Head on over there. All right. That's right. That is Cypher Safe. He makes that amazing clock. And he's going to be making some more products. Anyways, all right, let's go take a look. First thing is first. Here we go. That's right. Phil has to finish his stupid Google Chrome update. We're not doing that here, though, of course. All right, so time chain index, right? He is going to be doing some proof of reserves. Let's go take a look at that. And yeah, he's got a lot of data on this site. But guys, you can see right up here, proof of reserves. He's got, I was about to call it tragedy. That's maybe a Freudian slip. I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean. Anyways, strategy. It's not funny. Anyways, strategy, 21 Capital and Metaplanet. All right, he's got these three companies right there. And as you guys know, right, Arkham. As soon as Michael Saylor made that comment about not wanting to show the proof of reserves because of security and all this stuff, Arkham Intelligence had no problem sitting there and being like, "Yep, these are all the addresses we've identified for strategy." And you can take a look at them. So yes. I think it's good. I do think it's good to show the proof of reserves for a corporation, specifically if you are selling products based on those reserves. Okay, like I get it, right? That there's going to be some gray area. Like if a company like Apple starts buying Bitcoin, right, and they start to list it on their balance sheet, and it becomes part of their quarterly reports and stuff. I'm okay with that because, and I know it sounds hypocritical, but they're not selling a product that is based on their Bitcoin. So I just don't care. But if you are making derivative products on your Bitcoin, based on your Bitcoin, and you're creating all of these investment vehicles so that all these pensions can get in and all this stuff, I got to tell you, yeah, I have a really hard time saying proof of reserves doesn't necessarily matter. I kind of do. Not going to lie about that. Anyways, yeah. So proof of reserves, guys. All right. Moving on. We are going to move on to. We're going to take a look at this this clip here from TFTC. Okay, it's an interesting clip. Who is it? Marty has Brian Morgenstern, former White House, U.S. Treasury. Right now, he's at Riot Platforms. Okay, and of course, he loves Bitcoin now. So, okay, that's good stuff. Let's dive into it here. I had to reshare so that we could have the audio, right? Obviously, there's no point if you're not hearing the audio.
You need bold action. Little high right now. That expense, that interest expense, getting a bit higher. 10-year yield, not where we want it to be. We need bold action. I think BitBonds is the bold action.
$1 trillion every 100 days in debt. If you reduce that interest rate from 4.25% to 1% or even less, you're going a long way towards solving this problem, which the president has said is a priority. The Treasury Secretary, this is one of the reasons why he ended up leaving his multi-billion-dollar business to come be Treasury Secretary, was to fix the debt problem. You can dramatically reduce your debt expense in one fell swoop if you can get BitBonds off the ground. You can give risk-free exposure to the upside of Bitcoin to millions of American families by doing this. You will improve the quality of life. You'll reverse the trend of the melting iceberg dollar if you do BitBonds. So yeah, we need to get that Andrew Hones guy into the Treasury Department to sing the gospel of BitBonds and try to get this thing moving, because it really would be revolutionary.
Okay. So, I mean, it all sounds great, right? It sounds great. We've got this solution, right? This possible solution of, of BitBonds, and this is going to kind of help the government with their interest payments. So I think that there's a few assumptions here, right? The assumption is that the people that make up the government actually feel some type of responsibility to the country in order to pay back or be able to service this debt. I got to be honest with you. I don't have that feeling at all. I mean, I'm like, what? I don't want to dox my exact age, right? But, I'm around 45 years old. And I mean, I've obviously seen quite a few different economic situations play out. And the reality is that I've never actually seen any government really care about the debt. I've seen them talk about it. I've seen them use it for their platforms to get votes and to garner hearts and minds, right? I've seen that. But I've never actually seen a situation where a government goes and essentially provides a real roadmap for their deficit. A real one that they actually follow, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, this one, this party came into power this time and they're doing it. And then all of a sudden another party comes into power and then they undo it, right? We've seen that time and time again. So from my perspective, this is really just a convenient story. That's all it is. Now, I am not saying that BitBonds are bad or anything like that. And I'm not saying, BitBonds are a scam. Or look, it's just financialization. This is just another product, right? It's another product like any other product. This one has a fantastic story, though. The fantastic story is we are going to dig this country out of its deficit by having this product. Now, let me ask you this. If the government has not been able to, because the real problem is the government spending, right? Like the government is made up of individuals. Individuals can be greedy. They can be fearful. They desire power. So, okay, the individuals in these positions are not actually changing, right? Their desire for power, the desire for, more money and the desire to essentially funnel the money to their particular interests that they believe in. None of that changes. So why the hell would offering BitBonds all of a sudden make the government pay back this deficit? If you ask me, I believe that all it is just another measure to kick the can down the road. Now, the other piece to it is this. Once we understand that all of our monetary systems are created completely out of debt, then we understand that this is just stories. These are just stories. That's all they are. Sorry, what Michael, what do you say? If the bonds make money, the government will just spend more money later. Exactly. It's, I feel, I feel bad. I understand, people sit there and they want to be hopeful. Look, you want to be hopeful for yourself? No problem. Just buy Bitcoin. Do it for yourself. Buy Bitcoin, store it, take sovereignty of your keys, right? Make sure that you have your own hardware wallet, that you're running your own node, you know, that you understand exactly what the qualities are of Bitcoin. Don't look to the government to sit there and fix deficits and do all of this stuff. Once you understand that all government, forget about government money, but all money, period, just came out of trust. And that trust is debt. Okay? That's all it is. It's always ever been debt. If we go back to some of the earliest money systems, okay, people were handing each other sticks with notches in them. Now, do you actually think those sticks with notches had value? No, of course not. They were a promissory note to pay that debt. That's all it is. So what people don't understand is that if the debt all gets paid back, there is no money left in the system. Okay. So I hate to say it, but it's all smoke and mirrors, and it's just too bad. And I guess the last piece of evidence that I kind of wanted to show, and I mean, you can see it as evidence or not, but let's just take a look at the actual debt, right? And this is just from 2001. We're not even taking a look at the loss of purchasing power, or anything like that. We are just looking at the actual deficit trends, okay? And this is from 2001 to 2024. Just goes up. It just goes up. It was never, ever meant to go any other way. And the reason it's never meant to go any other way is because all of the financial activity in our system, right, in our economy, it's all just debt. That's all it is. Anyways, yeah. Oh, nope, Mary, I like this one. It's almost like they're tricking everyone into counterparty. I kind of think they are. I'm not going to disagree with that. I do, again, right? This is where it gets difficult because as an individual, you can hold Bitcoin, hold your keys, to Bitcoin, and essentially save your purchasing power due to its qualities, right? And to me, that is always the only thing that has ever mattered. So, when I see this type of stuff, about the BitBonds saving the country and this and that, this is just gloom and doom rhetoric, for clicks and views. And I'm not saying that like, oh, it's so terrible. Obviously, I'm making content, so yeah, I want views too, right? Like everybody wants people to pay attention to their content. You'd be a hypocrite if you didn't say or didn't actually believe that for yourself. But the thing is this, right? When you sell gloom and doom, right, and people actually believe it, they really start to invest in those ideas, and people to a certain extent, right? Some people, they really need heroes, and most importantly, they need to believe a story, right? So all of a sudden, if this BitBond story doesn't play out in their minds, it's like, oh, Bitcoin's failed. This is all falling apart. This and that. It's like, guys, this is just a financial product. That's all it is. I'm not talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking about the BitBonds, right? Like this is we are watching hyper Bitcoinization. This is all part of it, right? Institutions are going to try to shoehorn Bitcoin into their little bed of Procrustes, right? The government's going to do the same thing. Like we could control Bitcoin, we're going to shoehorn it into our little bed of Procrustes, right? And for the people who don't know the bed of Procrustes thing, essentially it's that there was this king and he had these guests, and if the guest was too tall, he'd cut off their heads, he'd cut off their legs so they fit in the bed. If they were too short, he'd stretch them out, right? He'd just make them fit the box every time. And this is what we are seeing with nation states. This is what we're seeing with corporations, right? They're doing what they know how to do. But in the end, the best thing, the only thing you can do, you watch this news, it's entertaining. That's all it is. In my eyes, I'm just watching the entertainment. Self-sovereignty is the key. Running your own node is the key. Having your own keys is the key. Anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much. I will catch you. I don't know if there's something good to talk about tomorrow. I'll catch you tomorrow, but otherwise, I will catch you on the next one. Peace.